In just a few moments, I'm sorry about that. How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? We are here at the 4th annual Maine Cannabis Convention by NECANN, and in just a few moments, we are going to be receiving some great insights from leading ladies in the industry from different angles. So some of these ladies have plant-touching businesses, some of them have ancillary businesses, they are consultants in, again, different respects. Some of them are cultivation masters, they know everything from the plant science to maybe some wellness and marketing. So come on over and join us at the main stage. We're going to get started shortly with a panel discussion with some leading ladies in the cannabis space here in New England.
Pleasure to meet you, and look forward to the episode. Yeah, all right, thanks.
So make your way on over. Please feel free to join us. We're going to get started very shortly here at the main stage at the 4th annual New England Cannabis Conference here in Maine. So I'm calling out to all of my ladies. We're going to get started on the Cannabis Clean session. So if you are a featured leading lady for the session, please make your way on up. I'm calling all Cannabis Cleans in the building. Yeah. All right, it looks like we're going to be getting started very shortly. Again, thank you all for being here at the 4th annual Maine Cannabis Convention by NECANN. We have a great program rolling out this weekend, and coming up here on the main stage, we are going to be hearing from leading ladies in the cannabis community and industry. that are doing all kinds of great things. Keep it this way. All right, we're going to get started shortly. And we have Beth Waterfall here. She is the managing director for NECANN. And I want to give Beth a big round of applause for coordinating our program, giving in questions. This is amazing. Yeah, absolutely. Beth is going to be facilitating the conversation, this panel discussion. We want to welcome questions, so I'll be helping, pass the mic when the time is right. So without any further ado, let's give a round of applause for all of our cannabis queens on this panel.
All right, thank you so much, Eve, for that kind introduction, and thank you everybody for coming out. As Eve said, my name is Beth Waterfall. I wear a lot of hats like all these different ladies do, and as I'm sure most of you do or will as you're entering the cannabis industry. So a couple other hats that I wear, I am a president and founder of a marketing agency, Beth Waterfall Creative, and I'm also a co-founder and executive director of a nonprofit called Elevate Northeast, which, thank you so much, which basically focuses on educating people about the industry and empowering people, like us and like you, who may have had some negative, but albeit too traditional and normal experiences in established industries. So basically anybody who's felt marginalized, so women, LGBT, people of color, veterans, baby boomers, really we see the cannabis industry as a second chance for a lot of people. I'd also like to just quickly introduce our panelists and then give them a minute just to elaborate on who they are and why they're here. To my right is basically one of my first mentors and heroes in the industry. I tell her all the time she changed my life. This is Ellen Brown. She's the founder of Cincinnati Seminars, and she is, absolutely. She's also a Air Force veteran. So this is a person who continues her service to all the rest of us, just in a different way now. And to her right is Devin Soloniewitz. She is the Director of Licensing for Altitude Products. And to her right is Miss Danielle Smith, and she is the founder of Rooted Life. She's also got a little something to do with Atlas Plant Training. And then Laura Beohner is down at the end. Laura, all these ladies hold special places in my heart. But Laura, she's pretty cool. She is the founder of the Healing Rose, which they make beautiful products of the highest quality. And I'm sure you've all seen it and probably experienced their products. But before they go into their intros, who in the audience here is actively employed or working in the cannabis industry? Awesome. And so who is not yet? Who's kind of looking at these opportunities? Okay, awesome. Well, I'd like everybody to give those folks a round of applause because it takes a lot of bravery to step out, to try something new, particularly in a stigmatized industry like this. So congratulations and welcome. So let's just put it on the table quickly. Ellen, 60 seconds. Tell us a little bit about your story.
My name is Ellen Taylor Brown. I'm a United States Air Force veteran. After my service, I came back to Massachusetts and I wanted to start cultivating my own cannabis and become a patient. It wasn't available here in Massachusetts, so I moved across the country to Hummel, California because I had read about it in High Times magazine and I made an honest go of it. And I just continued to put myself out there. And if you give me an opportunity, I'll give you a reason to give me another opportunity. So I saw that there was a need for education. There was a problem. I had a solution. So I created Cincinnati Seminars, and I've been holding seminars for the last 3 years throughout New England and across the country.
Devin.
Hi, I'm Devin Soloniewitz, and I started in cannabis about 6 years ago. Started in the financial services industry, and built some national pilots working with insurance and with investments inside of those vehicles. And then I really started networking quite a bit. I found that I wasn't necessarily a grower. I kind of leave that to professionals like Ellen and other folks like that. And I just really found that my niche was really connecting people, people who had wonderful products, like Laura, and services like Danielle, things like that. I really just kind of gravitated towards helping people connect and actually being able to grow their businesses. So I've continued to do that most recently with company Altitude Products out of Las Vegas. And that's currently where I am. I'm Danielle Smith, and I got involved in the cannabis industry about 4 years ago. My husband and I are both Maine medical marijuana caregivers and had a home grow for our patients. We recently closed that down to focus on our other businesses, which include Green Harvest Solutions, which is a trimming machine rental and sales company, so service company. And then we had a product invention called Atlas Plant Trainer, which we brought to life and were able to source through China manufacturing and have all the patents and went through that entire process, as well as fundraising through ArcView. And then I just recently started a company in January called Rooted Life, which is a company that offers premium CBD wellness items, so high quality with a focus on education so people know how to actually consume the product.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, my name is Laura Beohner. I've been a medical marijuana patient in Massachusetts for about 6 years. I'm on the board of directors for Elevate Northeast, and I'm also the president and the co-founder of the Healing Rose Company. The Healing Rose Company handcrafts all organic body care using full spectrum CBD oil. And that all started from a reoccurring dislocated kneecap injury from playing basketball. So I've been an athlete my whole life, and finding topicals was kind of like a light bulb moment. And went off in that direction running, and now we're in about 75 stores across 16 states. And that's just in about a year's time of opening up wholesale. And, we're growing rapidly. We have 2 full-time employees, which I'm very proud about, and a team of 4. So thank you.
Woo!
Very cool. So my first question, these ladies gave a little bit of insight on their past and how they got here, but we all have different backgrounds, and Danielle and Devin in particular, you come from, similar to myself, I was in law firms and financial services firms. Danielle, you did human resources management, and Devin, you were in financial services. So Danielle, maybe you can answer, how was your experience working in the human resources field? How have you found that applies to what you're doing today?
It applies as far as running the businesses go. So from a legal standpoint, employees, etc., I have a really broad knowledge of how that all works. But it's interesting that you say that. It was a very large career shift for me. Not a lot of people knew that their human resources manager was growing weed at home. So it definitely was a good lead into what I'm doing as far as growing the businesses go and knowing how to stay legal.
You want to add anything there, Devin?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, from financial services, it's a very, very tough spot to be in, especially, in this industry. Working with cash and money, trying to figure out solutions on how to be able to protect that, being able to bank, being able to grow your assets. There's a lot to it. I really think, I've worked on building 2 national pilots working with insurance, just your perseverance. You're going to find that in anything in this industry. You really have to be able to persevere, and you really have the dream and will to do it, just keep up on it, because I was able to attain that, and everyone in this room can do that as well. It's true. As long as you have the passion and the drive, you can do it.
Absolutely. And Laura, you actually went to college with, everybody, well, not everybody, but a bunch of us go to college, but you went, unlike most of us, with the plan to own a business in the cannabis industry someday. So you've made that happen. So we have people of various ages here, but what would your advice be for somebody who's maybe in college now and thinking about where they could go with their life, and cannabis being a viable option?
Yeah, so I went to business school at Northeastern, and I went through all my classes from my junior year or my sophomore year on. I was a medical patient. I saw the potential of the cannabis industry from attending a High Times Cup over in Denver, and I was like, oh my God, this is the future. This is happening. These are my people. this is my spot. There's dabs everywhere. There's flour everywhere. I came back to Northeastern, and like first day of classes, they ask, what do you want to do? And I tell everyone, I want to work in the cannabis industry. I graduated cum laude. I was a research and teaching assistant, so I was a high, achieving student. And I was telling everyone, I smoke cannabis, and I'm going to be in the cannabis industry. So I kind of started on the activism level, kind of like at the college level, and really just educating, my fellow, students that the cannabis industry was up and coming. And I'd say to anyone who's at that level right now that you just want to go around to events, you want to take everything in. I would go to all the different booths at these events before starting a company and ask them, what's your branding strategy? What did you do to this? I'd inquire on how they built their brand, or, things of how to source things or how to manufacture. Just, be a sponge. Even if it doesn't matter how old you are, right? You can be 45 years old and going around asking these questions, absorb as much as you can, and just go out there, start today.
Thank you. So Ellen, yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
Ellen is not only a veteran of our Air Force here, you are a veteran of this industry. You've been at this longer than probably most people in the room. How have you seen things change, particularly for women?
Things have changed drastically. When I started back in 2010, there weren't too many females doing this. There weren't as many female cultivators doing this. And now it's really about empowering everyone and about empowering each other. And now we have Elevate New England, and there are groups specifically geared toward women and making sure that they feel included in this industry. And I think that's so important. And realizing that within this new industry, that this is a new industry. And the sky is the limit. There is nobody telling you can't be a part of this. Why aren't you a part of this? What skill set do you have that you want to merge with cannabis and become part of this industry? I have a teaching background, so that's what I gravitate to, teaching in my skill set. Laura knows marketing. These two lovely ladies are fantastic with products. So it's like, what can you do? What do you want to do? And come to us, anybody on this panel, we're here to help you. We're friends for life now. I mean, we are. Any friend of Mary Jane is a friend of mine. And anybody who cares about this plant and has altruistic goals is somebody that I want to work with. And you're going to see that passion. It's going to radiate, and people are going to want to work with you. So like I said, just keep putting yourself out there, keep going, and you're going to achieve your goals.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So ladies, I'll ask all of you, what is some advice that you have for people just starting out? I know a lot of us have taken that advocacy route and activism, but every state is a little bit different. Do you still think that advocacy and activism is important to start for your cannabis business?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, education is what we're lacking most in this industry in a lot of ways, right? The customers, there's a lot of confusion, a lot of misinformation out there. So it really starts with, education, educating, if you're just starting out, your family and friends. Practice on them. Practice how to have those conversations, those tough conversations about cannabis that some people are uncomfortable with. Yeah.
Part of what I do is I educate across the country. In the last 2 weeks, I held a cultivation class in Maine, and then I held a carrot oils class in Maine, and I had a cultivation class in Connecticut. Connecticut has a medical marijuana program, but they don't have home grow. Did everybody know that? You're in the great state of Maine. You guys have had your medical marijuana program since 1999. You guys are coming up on your 20th anniversary. Show them how it's done.
Yeah.
And you have states that don't have a functioning caregiver system. So the activism is far from over. In the state of Maine, when I teach a class, I can rent a venue and I can actually have live cannabis on site. I can actually use the cannabis on site. In Connecticut, we have to use our imaginations because of the law. So the law absolutely needs to change so that way I can go ahead and educate people. My Eventbrite got shut down 2 days ago. Do you know why? For hosting education. Federal government says you're not even allowed to teach people how to do extractions and how to grow their own cannabis. So until it's changed on a federal level, until it's descheduled and not rescheduled, pull up your sleeves. We got some work to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I was born and raised in Kennebunkport, which is a pretty conservative town. But I also grew up, my mom was epileptic, so I've grown up with the plant my entire life. Education, advocacy, they're huge, huge things because there's so much stigma out there that we're fighting every single day. We know what the plant is. We know the capabilities that has, but a lot of people don't. And the government's waged one of the worst wars in history on a plant. You know, when I'm networking, it's one of the things we do a lot is just educating, just talking to people. I absolutely, first and foremost, you have to believe in what you're doing, and that's where it really starts. And I would just basically mirror what everybody else has said at this point, but as somebody in the cannabis industry, I think we each have our own passion for why we started and our own ailments for family members that we've helped with the plant. So there is such personal passion behind what each of us is doing that we can't help but be advocates for what we're doing to make it easier to run our businesses and to make it available for everybody so that nobody has to go through some of what some of these ladies have experienced.
Thank you. I'll direct this one to Devin, I think, to start. I know you do a lot of traveling. You're working for a company in Las Vegas right now, so you get a lot of exposure to different areas and different attitudes. How has being a woman helped or hurt you in your experiences in the industry?
So that's a great question. Thank you. Being a woman in the industry has actually been really wonderful. I feel very fortunate to have been received really well in this. You know, when I started in this, you know, I walked into my first convention. I was honestly one of like 30 women in there out of a few thousand people. And it was very humbling. It was very empowering also. You know, I felt very honored to be there. You know, I think we have a unique perspective on things. I think that we have a lot of instinctual abilities that we can bring to this industry, and obviously it's working. So yeah, I mean, I thoroughly enjoy being a female in the industry. I think that just comes with its own unique set of caveats to help with.
Very nice. Anybody else want to share anything that's maybe been a detriment, or where you've had an experience where you weren't well received simply because of your gender?
I would say that I haven't had any real particular one incident, but I do have a lot of times where I'll tell people I'm the president and the co-founder of the Healing Rose, and people go, "Wow, really? Yeah, like, is that surprising?" I don't know, just things like that. You know, like people's natural reactions that I know they can't control, and those things will change over time, and you just gotta let them roll off your shoulder. But it makes me stronger. It kind of like feeds my fire, and I'm like, yeah, I did that. You know, so it's all about how you react to the situation and how you take it, and yeah.
Word.
When I first started out, I was also going to these High Times events, and nobody would give me the time of day. I'm the lead cultivator of a 3,000 square foot facility, and they go, "Yeah, sweetie." I'm like, "I'm trying to buy seeds." Any guy walks up, they're like, "Oh, come on over. What do you grow? Here's a free pack. Here's a t-shirt. Let's be best friends. Let's work together." I'm like, "Hi." And they're like, nice. It's just your girlfriend. It's just some girl. And they push me aside. So what I started doing was I got my Instagram with my pictures of my grow on it, and then when I went over, I started holding out my cell phone, and they go, "Oh, whose that?" I go, "That's mine. I grew that. 2 pounds of plant, that's mine." And boy, did their opinions change. And you know, for a long time, you know, women aren't necessarily considered the cultivators. It's usually a man's job, and I think a big part of that is because we have so much to lose. You can lose your family, you can lose your children, you could lose possibly your social status with your friends, and your women don't grow. And if you go to jail, there are mothers that could lose their children. Kara Crabburns in the audience, she made sure that when she was a pregnant mother, she was also an advocate to not have her child taken away. So we have a lot to lose. So as a woman, you have to stand there and you say, "I'm a grower, I can do this, and I can do it better than any man."
Yep. I've had some experience as well on the growing side when I was a caregiver, or even honestly sometimes at our trade show booths where we're talking about growing and trimming weed. We'll have men come over, and oftentimes I'll be in the middle of saying something and they will literally stop and look at my husband and co-founder for that business and listen to what he has to say. Or we'll be in business meetings where I'll be answering all the questions, for example, financials, because I handle all of that. And they will ask the question to him, he'll look to me, I'll answer the question, and then it will happen again, time and time again, and it's incredibly frustrating for both of us because he's recognized that it happens as well. But as a whole, that's not been my experience in the industry. I've felt very welcomed as a female, and some of that may have to do with other females that are so welcoming. But I do find that we are incredibly supportive of each other, no matter what the business is, and we build each other up. And when you have those tough days where you feel like the man is holding you down, you have other females that you can vent to and support you and know that you're not alone in that struggle.
Yeah.
So at the beginning of our discussion today, I asked folks to raise their hand if they were not yet in the industry and considering it. You know, it's wonderful to have a crystal ball and be able to see everything ahead, but perhaps we could serve as a crystal ball here today for them, sharing maybe some, maybe not regrets, but maybe something that we wish could have gone a little bit differently to help them avoid making a similar mistake. Anybody want to take that?
So when I got in the industry, like I said, I was originally a financial advisor when I got here, and obviously that's what kind of drew me in, working with cash and things like that, working with banking solutions. But what I realized when I got in here is I started coming to the convention and I started seeing other opportunities. There are so many opportunities right now. I've never seen an industry that could take someone literally from any walk of life and find a place for them in cannabis. I've never seen anything else like it. So I would, when I first started, it's almost like with shiny objects. You start to look at one thing and you're like, oh my gosh, that's such a cool idea. Well, let me look into that a little bit. So I would go over and start to do this. And I actually, people like, I see you everywhere. What do you do? And I'm like, it just depends on the conversation. I do all kinds of things. But I would say, you know what, I would really try to focus. I think if there was something that I wish that I could have harnessed myself, it would be a little more focused, give projects maybe a little more time on things, but really try to find your niche and just continue kind of developing that. That's kind of the biggest thing, but there's a lot of shiny objects in the industry, a lot of cool things to do and see and try your hand at. So, but just the focus, try to stay in one spot for a little bit and see if you can make that work and then continue on. But no regrets after that.
So we tried to start another company early this year in 2018 to do private labeling for other companies, and that was probably our biggest mistake yet. We took on a business partner, broke it off within 2 weeks. Our morals and our ethics didn't align, so I'd say if you're going to business with someone, you need to understand their morals and their ethics and how they operate business, right? Because that's like how your entire business is run. It's really the core, the roots of your business. So if you're going to business with anyone, you're going to do a partnership, just make sure you're even if you're going to have a job, right? If you're working underneath bosses that have really messed up morals, that don't align with your ethics, get out soon. And there's so many more opportunities out there to find, a company that believes in the plant, has good morals and values, and that'd definitely be my advice. It was a mistake, but it was a great learning lesson for sure.
Yeah, there really is something about that women's intuition, and I think that's a tool in our tool belt here. If I could add on to that, kind of what these ladies were just saying, there are these sparkly objects, and there's a lot of new people. There's a lot of excitement. There's just so much opportunity. I know I've made the mistake of trusting certain individuals because they shared my enthusiasm, or that's what it seemed like, taking them on as a client, and then soon realizing after the fact that perhaps I should have done a little bit more due diligence on that, because now I'm associated with a person who has a very, very bad reputation. So I encourage everybody, whether you're doing any sort of client work, or you're starting a business like Laura said, or really anything, think about who you're in bed with, and because again, this industry, there's a lot going on, it's growing, but it's still really small, and a bad reputation can really make or break you very quickly. So really pay attention and think twice and listen to that woman's intuition. I wish I had.
One more thing, I got a submitted request from someone in the audience, or a submitted statement. Don't put cannabis in your company name unless you're willing to deal with a lot of headaches, banking issues, insurance issues, website issues, payment processing issues. So don't do that.
For something I really wish that I had gotten on earlier, or wish that I realized earlier, was just my own power. Just realizing I can do this. I can do this. Nobody can stop me. I can just keep going. I can hold as many seminars as I want. People continue to come. I can continue to grow. I can continue to not only do seminars, but one-on-one. And then, oh, wait, I can reach out to dispensaries. I can take it a step further. I don't have to stay in New England. I can go to across the country. I can take it all the way to Jamaica. We can go anywhere. And there's nobody stopping us. So why did I wait so long? I could have been doing this years ago and gotten even further. And I just wish that I had Run with it. That women's intuition. You know what you're good at. You know what you want to do. Visualize it and go after it, because nobody's going to stop you. We're all just going to encourage you. And my other question is, who got their resume today? Raise your hands. Yes. Yes, 2 gold stars. 2 gold stars out of everybody here. This is a job fair. This is a job fair. You have the owners of companies here. You have Beth Waterfall here, the program director here. You enter your resume before you go. The fortunes and the follow-up. Remember, follow up.
Very good, very good. And just to add on what Ellen was saying, a lot of women, I know I've experienced it, but it's a real thing, that imposter syndrome, where things are going well and you think you're having a great impact, and then it's like, oh, wait a minute. Why me? Like, why are things going so well for me? Maybe I'm like, I have a totally unrealistic picture of what's really going on here. But again, listen to your intuition and know your worth, know your value, and surround yourself with the good people that are going to support you there. And try to, think about that imposter syndrome as a thing of the past. It doesn't need to be there. So we'll just do a couple more questions then. Certainly want to open up to the audience. A couple years ago, there was some data released by New Frontier stating that women were holding more leadership and ownership positions in the cannabis industry than in any other industry. It was like 36%. And that was extremely, empowering and very motivating. And some people still use those figures. However, realistically, that number has dropped. We have more people coming to the industry, I love my dad, I love my brother, I love my husband. Certainly want people to participate. But as the industry is growing, we're getting more people from those traditional backgrounds, from the established industries. And in those established industries, the leadership positions are held majority anyway by men. So what can we do, ladies, together to stand our ground, to ensure that that there is a space, that we're creating and maintaining space for more women to come and learn, participate, and to support each other to rise to those leadership positions? Any ideas?
It's not a boys' club, it's a female plant. No boys are allowed in my grow room, let me put it to you like that. Seriously. So for having more female empowerment, it's, your vibe attracts your tribe. Start hanging out with the ladies. Start realizing, I want to follow up with Kara. I'd really love to follow up with real estate with Heather. I have some questions. I want to see Hope. I need some research. I'm going to talk to, Dr. Marion McNabb. There are so many fierce women in this industry who are not going to stop, and all they want is more women to come on in. Like Devin said, when she went to her first convention, there were maybe 30 women. When I went to my first row class in Amsterdam, I think I was the only woman by myself. One of the only women by myself that wasn't there with their boyfriends. I looked around the room and I was alone. And now I hold classes just for females, just to start cultivating. So how can you give back? What can you do to inspire other women to become a part of this industry? Put your hand out and say, come on, come with me, let's go together.
Absolutely. I think, I have a really interesting view just coming from financial services, because there's not very many women in that as well. I was actually the only female in my office when I was working with Prudential. So, I think, it's just know your worth, just like Beth said. Know your worth and add tax. Okay? If there's less of us, that means we're more valuable. But definitely make yourself available to people. I'm always happy to mentor. I'm always happy to help. I'm always happy to connect. And just if you keep yourself open and available, like I said, to just to other people. And also, go to networking events. Just make yourself seen. The more that you're seen, the more people that you talk to, the more people are going to feel like, hey, if she can do it, maybe I can do it too. So you'll see it grow. I would just piggyback on that and say, know your worth, because as a female, you're going to bring a completely different skill set to the table than a man might, and that can actually make a company so much better, because your leadership team ends up being more well-rounded. So build each other up, find your tribe, and just do it. Nobody is stopping you, like Ellen said. You just have to do it, and then find other females. We're all very welcoming, and we want to help each other so that we're not the only person in that classroom or at that conference.
Yeah, I think it's important that we have this conversation. People need to know that number is going down for the amount of C-suite women in the industry, and that if we're not going to be making changes, this industry is going to grow, and that rate's going to continue. Having conversations with men in the industry, executives, ask them, how many women do you have on staff? What's your percentage? As these companies are growing, start asking those questions, because if you're not asking them, they're not going to be thinking about them, right? So, let people know that's important for consumers. It's important for, potential employees, that there's diversity in your workplace, and not just with men and women, but obviously with races and sexual orientation, and all those unique perspectives, all those different lenses are going to create a better finished product, and that's been proven in business studies. And it might not be the way of past America, but current America is going that way, and it's just, conversation. Have them.
Okay, cool. And then I'll put it on us too. Former Secretary of State for the U.S., Madeleine Albright, said there's a special place in hell for women who don't help each other. So I think we put it on ourselves too, to when we're at the networking events and you see somebody who's by themselves, encourage them to talk, tell them who you are, tell them about yourself. I'll tell you what, a huge thing that I learned is it's silly to judge anybody based on how they look or how they present themselves at these different events. I've met people that maybe I initially thought, I don't know, and then realized that they're like this multi-millionaire CEO of a company. So a big thing to think about is no judgment, open up the conversation and learn that way. So I think we'll open up to questions. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, Hannah.
I know all your reading. Most of you. I think we've met. Anyway, Devin, I know your mom, so my question is, how have you found it being a parent in a traditional industry versus being a parent in the cannabis industry, considering moms are the primary caretakers for children and household?
Great question. Thanks, Kara. So yes, I do have a lot of kids. I'm a mom of 7 and a grandmom of 2. I'm a grandmother as well. And it's fantastic, actually. So my mom actually got me into cannabis. Again, she was epileptic, so I've grown up with that. So 3rd generation cannabis, my children are, much like yourself, Kara, and your lovely mom next to you. Yeah, no, it's great, actually. Unfortunately, the seizures have followed into my children's lives as well. So my children are patients also. So really what it comes down to is just education with them. Just teaching them, showing them that it's a plant, it's, not a bad thing. And actually my children have taken that to school. My daughter wrote cannabis as medicine on one of her exams, and actually the teacher said that she was correct. So that's a huge leap for a 13-year-old to do. But again, it's just really about education. People have asked me a lot of times about if I have cannabis in my home with my children, and I said, well, of course I do. But it's also, we treat it as a medicine. Would you leave your, pain medicine or whatever else, antibiotics on a table? No, you take care of those. You lock those up and put those away. So again, it comes down to responsibility, being a responsible parent. But I think it's a wonderful thing. I think, we have the grand ability to be able to kind of shape the future. These are people who's going to be, growing up and becoming the future for us. So it's really a neat opportunity. Thank you. Other questions?
Give it 1 second, it'll turn green.
Hi, thanks. So my question actually is kind of off of your question. I'm a mom of a 2-year-old, and as I've kind of pursued this as a business option or opportunity, I've started to wonder, how do you talk to your kids' friends' parents about this? There's always that inevitable question of, what do you do? And I found myself the other day kind of actually just coming out and saying it, and the response was mixed. So I guess my question is to all of you, is how do you approach that, and how do you also, on that, deal with any sort of negative feedback? And, have you seen any issues where people are kind of afraid of talking about it?
Yeah, no, and it's a hard thing to do sometimes, and that's very brave of you to be able to come out and honestly just say it. The way that I've found that I say it, when I'm being introduced to people, it can be, I work in plant medicine, and that can open up the conversation a little bit, maybe a little softer than just saying,
I work with marijuana, or I always try to use the word cannabis, just as you know, that helps, you know, bring us the conversation around. But that's really what I say. I honestly haven't had too many negative reactions. A lot of times I actually get, oh, that's really interesting. Tell me a little more about that, and because it's kind of a taboo thing. There's still a ton of education that we're doing. So I get a lot of good questions like that. I am careful, you know, sometimes, you know, depending on what scene you're in or who you're with. Just to tread lightly sometimes, you know, but always, you know, it opens the conversation. I haven't had too much negative feedback, but yeah.
I have a 3-year-old daughter, so I can definitely relate to that. And coming from human resources, I didn't talk about what I did with anybody. I was afraid that would damage my career. So after switching over, I became more and more comfortable and said, look, if I'm going to be a part of destigmatizing this plant, I got to be all in. And so I started to come out and tell people more about what I was doing. What I was finding was that 9 times out of 10, they asked a lot of interested questions and oftentimes ended up becoming customers of some sort, whether it was starting with CBD and explaining the medicinal properties without the psychoactive effect. And I find that that's a really good gateway. Like, look, we've helped, you know, so-and-so with ALS or cancer or, you know, restless leg syndrome, whatever it is, something that's relatable to that person. They'll become a lot more interested and appreciative of your honesty. And there will be some people that don't accept it. And at the end of the day, you can try to educate them, but it's tough. There are some people that we've kind of lost from our lives a little bit, but in the end, it didn't line up with our values anymore because we are so passionate about what we're doing and moving it forward. I coach basketball. I've been coaching youth basketball for about 4 years now. And it was honestly really hard for me to come out to the parents that I coach. So I sent them a really nice professional email at the beginning of the season, just let them know what I did. And I went out to eat with the parents shortly after, and they just had a bunch of questions, and they were really pretty open about it. I just treat it really professionally. I don't use the term marijuana, and we use hemp right now, but cannabis always, and just, you know your shit. Know your stuff, you know, and just be really confident with it, and let them know that this is a medicine, you know, the plant's a medicine. It's not here because it's recreational. It's not like beer, it's not like liquor, you know, just education. Like, it was a big step for me. I was super nervous to tell my parents, like, I don't want to lose coaching, and my girls love me, so I have no problems, but yeah.
I think also it comes down to your image as well. Like, if you look at the ladies that are up here, you know, you as well, you know, you got beautiful stuff and stuff, you know. I think when people have that initial thought of this is someone that works with cannabis or with pot, this is what I'm envisioning. And when you don't necessarily look like that, and you are very professional, and you know your shit, it makes it much easier, I think, that conversation. My husband is active duty currently, and he's, you know, it's very tough for him, you know, working, you know, with what he does, you know, being able to tell his fellow shipmates and things like that, what I do. That conversation comes up a lot of times, and over the years, it's gotten much easier. And now at this point, he's handing out my business cards. And a lot of those people are like, you know, I need to talk to your wife. When you go home, you need to get stuff for me. It's funny. It's an interesting model. But I think, you know, just as long as you're professional about it and you open up the conversation, it's a great place to start.
Any other questions?
I have a question. It's actually for our guests. I want to know who came to this session, this discussion, with a specific goal in mind, to connect with a particular person, a particular distributor or vendor, to take your goal for whether it's cannabis business or cannabis wellness to the next level. So who came to this event this weekend with a particular connection that they want to make? All right. Well, before we wrap it up, I just want to give these ladies a huge round of applause.
Thank you.
And I want to encourage everyone to please get connected. Before we wrap up, actually, if any of you ladies have a booth on the floor, we actually have another question. So before we wrap up, we're going to get that question in. But my encouragement is to connect.
It's not the question I said I would ask, but all of you have, first off, thank you all for presenting and being here. and sharing the information with everyone here, so kudos to you on that. My question to you is this, because a lot of you do marketing for your products, okay? So as a guy, all right, when you are doing your videos, your Instagram, your Facebooks, what is your mindset? Are you doing one message just to really go capture the female audience, and then you slightly doing a different message to capture the male audience? Or are you trying to balance your message to attract both the female and the male audience? We all know women are the decision makers in the household. So when it comes to buying the products, are you really focusing on that? And could you actually talk about your marketing strategy that you would use?
Good question. Thank you.
Yeah, my particular products, the Healing Rose, we definitely our target market's females, but it's also people that are in pain or dealing with chronic issues. But yeah, no, definitely, it's important to know what your voice is when you're marketing, right? You need to have the voice, the brand voice. Definitely, that's a good way. I haven't really been thinking about marketing to the different genders, really, actually. So that's a good point. But from marketing strategy, I just try to spread education, be as transparent as possible with our business practices. So I share that lab results, share behind the scenes videos, things like that. Just trying to create a genuine, honest voice for our customers to understand who we are.
With my marketing, depending on the classes, sometimes I hold classes that are specifically free for veterans. So with that, I gear my marketing to that. If I have class just for females. But overall, my classes, my service is geared toward everyone and anyone that wants to learn. I found that I have a very good split of both males and females coming in. So when I think about my marketing, I think about how do I make this appeal to everybody? How could I get this picture that I'm going to put out, or this information that I'm going to put out, always making sure that it's, reputable and that it's factual, and maybe that conversation will spark a conversation in somebody's house. And they'll say, hey, did you know about the cotyledon leaves? Or hey, did you know this about trichomes? And that conversation will get them started. Maybe they'll want to learn more. So I try to market to everyone so everyone can be their own best advocate. We have a lot of different brands. So inside of the brands, our Bello line is really specifically geared towards ladies, towards females. Whereas our Jack line is not deployed towards millennial males. We market specifically to that market, yes. But it is, we do mainstream, more of an overall brand as well. Where you can, get exposure for all the different brands. But specifically, the specific lines, those have targets, absolutely. And it's really, message we send just specifically to that group.
And just to add on to that, if you're creating products, you can't create something for everybody, right? So often your product, if you specialize in something and you're really an expert at something, if you're going to make a salve or something, make the best one. And there's certain people that product is for. So figure out who that is and narrow that, focusing on them, because if you're going to try to broaden your marketing, you're going to dilute the actual product's efficacy as well. So I think before you start your business or start a new product, think about who you want to serve. And if you're doing any sort of consulting, if you have clients, think about the clients that you want to work with. I had a situation where I was proposing to an organization that their Instagram was all babes and all this stuff. It was just very hypersexualized, and their challenge was opening up their marketing to more people to get them to buy their products. And they didn't want to budge, and they've maintained that, but they've also not been able to break them to getting winning customers. But their company is a certain thing, and if you're going to focus on that, and that's fine. But you can't be everything to everyone. But if you can create something or a service or product that's the best, then that's going to be some good marketing in and of itself. All right, so if there's no further questions, I'm going to ask the panel to just give us how can we find you, your website, social, however you want to do it. So we'll start with Laura at the end.
Sure, so we have a booth right in the first room right there, double booth, The Healing Rose. And also you can find us at www.thehealingroseco.com, Instagram at @thehealingrose_, Facebook at The Healing Rose Boston.
I have one large group here for Atlas Plant Trader and Green Harvest Solutions, 800. It's at an NCAP. And then if you're interested in Rooted Life or contacting me directly, you go to rootedlife.com, and life is LYFE. We also have the same handle for Instagram, and we're on Facebook as well.
And I do want to move here, but I'm here pretty much all day tomorrow as well if you'd like to get a hold of me. You can also email me at devin@altitudeproducts.com. I'm ruthless, but I'm mobile, so I'll be walking around the convention all day today and all day tomorrow, and I really look forward to engaging with anybody that has any conversations, following up. You can find us on Facebook, Sensitive Seminars. Our website is www.sensitiveseminars.com. Instagram, it's my business, so when you reach out, I'm going to be the person you reach out to, so I'm really looking forward to hearing from you.
And thank you all for coming. If you're interested in following up with me, just go to Waterfall.com. Thank you, everybody, and thank you to our panelists for doing And our next panel is going to be about marketing. We talked a little bit about it today with this panel, but please stay tuned. David Kunick is going to talk about marketing.
We are boomeranging, people. We are here at the 4th annual Maine Cannabis Convention. And again, just want to encourage everyone to get connected with these cannabis queens. Right now, the industry is going to continue to grow. And right now, you have an opportunity to reach out to founders, CEOs, visionary officers, financial officers, a lot of executive visionaries here making the dream happen, so to speak. So thank you all for being here at the 4th annual Maine Cannabis Convention. And stick around, and in a few minutes we're going to get a discussion going that's focused a little more on marketing. Thank you.
Yeah, Eve, woo!